Hello and welcome to day 8 of Inktober Tangles challenge. I'm Anica, CZT from Croatia, and today's tangle is or looks a little bit complex to me. The name is Cochombrós maybe, and the name of the person who deconstructed is Tania Ferriol Jover. I'm not sure how to... I'm sorry, I don't speak what I suppose it's rooted in Spanish. But the tangle, it looks kind of complex. And let's see what we do with it. It starts, well, quite easily. I will start with one straight line. Ooh, I will use my pen. I will not use my pencil. I'm brave enough to use my pen, my PN pen. So I'm starting with one line and then I will add 2 more lines. So I'm shooting for star with 6 spokes, which this is. It's not a perfect one, but it is a good one. And then I will add these V shapes on top of each of these to kind of achieve a diamond shape out of each of these. Maybe I started a little bit too big. So, you know, if you are watching this, maybe you could just take this into account that it grows as we add more layers and it might grow too big. But, you know, I'll deal with it. There are no mistakes. Then I will extend each of these lines, but not, you know, only the ones that are going the same direction. So just rotate your tile and do the same stroke 6 times until you have extended these spokes just on one side. And then from that, you want to add an aura line. So I'm looking for a parallel line that goes from this point and it's parallel to the line that we just drew. So again, I will do that like this and here like this, and I can prolong or make those lines longer if I need to for the next step. Now it's just an aura line. And now I will close this. In my opinion, the line should be more or less parallel to this line. So I will extend whatever I need to get the line that's more or less parallel, so I'm not really looking again for perfection. No worries about that. I actually misjudged this. And then I will add another line which kind of goes and forms a line with this, but of course it goes behind. Let's see, I forgot this. Oh, yeah, I took a little bit too much space for this central part. But it's working out, I think. It's working out well. So my last one is not really matching because this should... Oh, it is what it is. I will just draw it like this. But something's off and I can't... Okay, I understand. This should have been extended somewhere here, and then this should have been under a different angle. But, you know, it looks like a folded origami star almost. And I didn't really excel at it, but it's fine. I will try to fix that with shading, and let's see if that works. Let's see if that works. Generally speaking, I'm not a big fan of tangles that are too structured. it makes the process less fun and less intuitive. It makes you overthink, which is not in line with what we do in Zentangle, or, you know, at least my vision of the Zentangle method. But, of course, some of us are just by nature more analytical and more leaning towards these kinds of tangles. There are people who are very good at deconstructing, drawing, using those tangles and just gravitate towards those tangles, like Thomas Padras, for example. I'm sure that many of you know that. And then there are people like me who are like, just let it flow, you know. Whatever I draw, I want to have a nice flow and not obsess about where this line should start and where it should end. I like the tangles that are more intuitive and forgiving. I don't see this one as being very forgiving. And I did something wrong here, so it's like I'm missing a triangle like this one. It should be, well, let's see. It should be here. It should be here. Now maybe I will make it a little bit better, because you see that I have these little triangles on top of these lines. So now I have the little triangle here on top of this line too, and maybe most of you saw it before I saw it, and that's fine, but it took me a while to see. Let me see what I will do next with my highlighting and shading. I'm not sure I'm doing whatever might make sense in this instance, and I'm not following the step outs when it comes to shading it. I'm just winging it and hoping for the best, and having you here as witnessing whatever I will end up with, whether it's successful or not. It's a very brave approach. I think I might have I might have done better if I practiced this particular tangle before, but it goes against my beliefs of Zentangle being a method where, you know, everything is simple enough for anybody to just dive in fearlessly. So that's what I'm, you know, you have to walk the talk. So it makes sense for me to be so even, you know, vulnerable, doing things like this and saying, okay, it might not work, let's see, and maybe, you know, facing the consequences. If it doesn't work, what do I do then? Nothing. You know, if it doesn't work, I will move to the next one. It's just pen and paper. Don't worry, there are no dire consequences to face. So I think whatever happens, even if it doesn't look good, I can deal with it. I can survive it. I will learn from it. And maybe next time, if I ever decide to use the Tangle again, I can learn from whatever I'm doing here today. And one more white, one more highlight. So now if you observe what I'm doing, I'm adding the highlights next to my darkest shades on the opposite side of these lines. So basically just adding more contrast with what I'm doing. I don't care if it makes sense, if this was supposed to be a depiction of an origami star or whatever. Maybe it doesn't make sense. I don't care. You know what? I think it doesn't look that bad at all. It's kind of cool looking. It makes you wonder, what is it? And what exactly it should look like. But it doesn't have to look like anything in particular because it's a tangle, which means that it's abstract. And you can make it into whatever you feel. And you can just intuitively choose how you will add the shades and highlights, just like I did now. And I'm happy to report that I'm not unhappy with it, which is a good thing, because of you who are watching me, maybe you can learn something. I would much rather have you follow me and be happy with what the outcome is than having the opposite thing happen. A little bit of white jelly roll just to increase these whitest highlights, and then I'm done with this tangle, and I'm not going to try to squeeze another one of these anywhere here, but this tile doesn't look balanced or finished right now, so I think I need to add something, and I think I will add another part of the star here, but I will not draw. Maybe it will be a little bit bigger, and maybe I will just show a part of it. So using the same tangle on different sides of the tile, I think it's a great thing to do, because it kind of adds balance to your tile, and that's what I'm doing now. So using the same tangle that I used on the opposite side, but maybe a bigger version of it. And then, of course, well, there are two of these spokes hidden here behind this, and maybe the proportions are not the best, but I don't care. You can see only 2.5 of these spokes right here. And those that you don't see, well, it's fine if they're not perfect. And then maybe I can live with some of the free space, negative space here on the bottom side. I think I will add at least a little bit of a border. Let's see what it looks like, but because of this little tail going there, I will leave it like this. And then on the top part, I might extend it like a full border, because this corner here is just perfect for it. And then as I move to the left, I might do the same thing again, and on this side I can leave it as it is, perhaps, at least for now. And now I will add some color to it and see what it looks like. So I have this water-based marker, or brush pen, that I applied to this little palette, and then I'm just picking it up with my brush and coloring the background, my tile. trying to balance between having a brush that's too dry and having too much water. Well, now I squeezed it. I think I heard some water going from the barrel to the brush, but it's not too much. No, I still rather maintain control than having... The problem is that I don't have any more water in here. Well, let's switch to another brush, and now this might surprise me with a little bit more water. It's also a Kuretake brush. It's just a little bit longer. Let's see how it works. But being a Kuretake brush, I expect it to work well. I have high expectations from it. And you can clearly see that there is more water. But not too much. It's not like dripping all over my tile. I can still control how much I apply to the paper, which is important. I don't want this paper too wet because of the kind of paper that it's made of. It's not watercolor paper, so it can tolerate water, and it actually tolerates water really well, but not too much water in my opinion. Okay, let's move to the other sections, and maybe you want to have a piece of tissue paper or something like that. I have this little, see, to wipe away your brush if you have too much water, and right now I might have a little bit more than I want, so I want to have a place where I can wipe away my brush. Okay, my little fox here also needs some blue around it, just because when I add blue to the background, the tangles themselves will kind of pop to the front. It will add more contrast, which contributes to the overall look of the tile. I think it's the most important thing to look for, especially if you are using many tangles. If your drawing kind of looks busy, for me it's always a sign that it needs more contrast. And often if it's too crowded, if you know, you look at the tile and you don't have anything that you can focus on that draws your attention, that means that you have to darken some spaces so that some other, you know, focal things might shine. It looks much better now, right? I still need some shades. I haven't shaded my star here. I have to be mindful about the water that I just used, so I will not add shades over the part that's blue, that I just colored blue. I will just shade the tangles that I haven't colored. And I haven't used the beadline, but that's fine. It's not like I need to be consistent with the way that I will embellish this star. In fact, I can do something different right here. Add a little bit of texture to these two spokes that you can see here, and then some highlight, and of course this little white dot. And now let me see what I can do, because I don't think that my my background is a little bit tilted, and I might get rid of that. slanted background because my tile keeps slipping. And it's tilted to avoid the glare when I use some of my shading supplies. So I left it from the last workshop I was teaching. This is dry already. I can add some shade around the tangles to my border, and then blend that with my blending stump. Okay, I think that I might maybe add some more love to this tile like I usually do, but I need to make sure that my blue is dry. So this is what I did first, and I think it's dry, and I want to add some shade, and also below the tangle, so wherever I have these white parts, I think some shade below it is a good idea. So the pencil that I'm using, it's not very soft, and it's not really smudging as easily as some of my other supplies that I use for shading, which is good and bad. Good because it's easier to control it, bad if you really want something that you will easily smudge. But I think it's working well for me here because I can always come in with another layer if there's not enough. But because my tangles are many times like crammed like this inside of a small space, it's important to be able to control how much I apply. I don't know what happened here. It's like there's this little area which almost looks like the paper was torn or something, but I don't remember doing anything to make that happen. A little bit here, just in these little nooks between the tangles to create some contrast, and maybe a little bit here, dark highlight, dark shades, and maybe below this bottom beautiful star shapes. Let me blend this carefully, lightly. So even when you apply the shades, you want to be strategic, I mean, you want to apply them in a way that you don't have to work too hard at blending them. So this is my strategy. Some more drama right here, and maybe also here below this Rambles ribbon. This part looks like it would be very dark, you know, shaded darkly, is that a word? And I'm sure it's not, to answer my own question. Now I'm looking at it. What you want to do when you think that you are finished, take a look at it from arm's length. You know, I think it's kind of a cute tile, even if it's kind of a weird tile at the same time. Let me add a simple embellishment to some of these. So I'm starting with the oral line along the outer part of the ribbon, and I'm retracing some of these lines that might have been muted with my graphite pencil. Oops. Well, I think that this, you know, texture that I just added with these lines did contribute to the way it looks. I think the videos are getting a little bit longer than I actually wanted them to be, but I still hope it's not too draining to watch and maybe to tangle along. And I already have these 2 tiles finished, which means that 2 of my Inktober forming letters are tangled, and I look forward to seeing what the next days bring. I hope that you will join me. Have a lovely Tangle time, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye!